Representative Rostodin Dennis is a vocal campaigner for a war and economic crimes code, but it has come at a price. Dennis says her advocacy has brought death threats to her and her family, including from former Liberian lawmakers. She will not say who they are. She says naming them would cause an uproar that would overshadow her advocacy. But she's not backing down.
I have signed up for this, and I say if I die doing it, it's going to give me joy.
In 2019, Dennis helped mobilize 54 of her fellow representatives to publicly state they would vote for the resolution when it came up in the House. But ever since, the document has sat on the desk of House Speaker Bhofal Chambers. Chambers once championed the code, but has backtracked in recent years. He has said the legislators need more time to discuss the resolution with the people they represent. But critics say it is a delayed tactic. That position earned him a rebuke in a U.S. Human Rights Report on Liberia for 2020. Chambers is acting within the rules. As Speaker, he has the sole authority to decide what appears on the House agenda. To be made into law, a bill or a resolution must first win the votes of 2/3 of the representatives in the House. Then it goes to the Senate, where it must also win 2/3. The President can veto such a bill or a resolution by both houses, but they can override that veto according to the Liberian Constitution. Chambers has not responded to numerous texts and calls asking for an interview. Councillor Tiaron Gonglo is the president of the Liberian National Bar Association. His organization has worked with Dennis and her colleagues and local and international human rights advocates to revise the original bill the bar had drafted for the code. The bar's bill is different from the draft resolution the representatives signed for the code. One revision of the bar's bill would suspend a provision of the Liberian judiciary law to allow non-Liberian lawyers to practice in Liberia for the duration of the code. That will allow international judges to preside over the trial as they did in the special court for Sierra Leone.
In that way, the code then will have international respect, confidence, and it will also generate international financial support.
Another issue that has caused concern is how the existing court system would interact with the War Crimes Code. Gonglo says the War Crimes Code will have an appeals chamber that will only rule on matters related to the War Crimes Code. It will not interfere in any way with the regular judicial processes of Liberia. Neither will Liberia's courts have any role in the War Crimes Code. Court opponents may have hoped Chambers would continue to ignore the bill, but campaigners are going to make that hard. They hope to mobilize 20,000 citizens to march on Capitol Hill to present the revised bill to the legislature soon. Gonglo says a large show of public support will push Chambers and legislators to act.
First, it creates awareness in the general public about the existence of this bill. It also puts pressure on the legislature that the people know and that this bill is in their interest, because that's the only instrument for fighting against impunity and for accountability for the war crimes and crimes against humanity.
Dennis praises the bar's latest efforts, saying it re-energizes the push for the code. She says that until Liberia holds the worst perpetrators from the wars to account, Liberians will never trust their government.
The quest of impunity it has undermined development in Liberia. And every country that is moving fast and that is already developed, they don't joke with justice.
Councillor Gonglo agrees.
Fighting against impunity and holding the perpetrators of war crimes, those who bear the highest responsibility for what happened in this country, is a way of preventing the recurrence of that.
Momentum for the code is not only high in the House. Senators, including Kidawas Dillon of Mosurada County and Prince Moyo of Bon County, openly back the code. Campaigners are confident they have the votes they need to pass the bill there too, despite powerful opposition from senators such as Prince Johnson, who would likely be tried in a war crimes court for his role in the war. Campaigners had hoped the Weah administration's recent decision to allow a Finnish court to hold hearings in the trial of accused Sierra Leonean war criminal Jibril massacre on Liberian soil might signal a change in the president's resistance to the court. But Information Minister Lejawood Rennie shut those hopes down in a recent interview.
This country does not have the resources on its own to establish such a court. It's not just from a sentimental standpoint. Let's pick up people and put them in jail because somebody said they did this during the war. No, we must be careful so that we don't try to bring justice and then unravel and then unravel. Then at the end of the day, undo the peace.
But court advocates have repeatedly dismissed concerns about the costs of a court, saying the international community will pay for it, just as they did for the UN-backed special court for Sierra Leone. Economists have said an influx of lawyers and activists that come with a court might even be a boost for the struggling economy.
We don't have the money, so we are engaging partners, people who have respect for humanity and justice. So I don't think funding should be a problem. That's just a poor excuse from the government.
Dennis says justice is coming for the worst perpetrators of Liberia's war crimes, and they are now frantically blocking the court out of fear.
The perpetrators of the war crimes, they are the ones afraid now as compared to the victims that were afraid in the past.
I strongly believe that when the perpetrators are brought under the jurisdiction of the court, they will immediately lose whatever influence they have over their supporters. And they are not popular in Liberia anyway to generate any kind of popular support that will undermine the security of the court.
Indeed, some of Liberia's key international partners have urged the government to establish the court. In a recent Liberia-European Union forum, the EU said it stood ready to support Liberia's post-conflict reconciliation and transitional justice process, including implementation of recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report. In 2018, the U.S. House of Representatives and UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed called on the Liberian government to implement the TRC recommendations, including a war crimes court. In March, Justice Minister Musa Din told the UN Human Rights Council that Liberia was engaged in national and regional consultations around accountability for serious crimes. Human Rights Watch and local justice advocates immediately disputed the claim. The UN panel has threatened to impose sanctions and other penalties if Liberia does not act. The massacre trial and ongoing war crimes trials around the world are adding to pressure from the international community. It remains to be seen whether the administration will buckle. This report was produced by Power TV in collaboration with New Narratives as part of its West Africa Justice Reporting Project. I'm Anthony Stevens reporting.